fellas. We can be that mistake. Let's do this. What up, y'all?
What's going on, guys?
We're Embracing Suck 21.
Yes, we are.
I'm Spencer.
And I'm Daniel.
Coming back at you with our good friend Lawrence, Lost in the
Yes.
Pond. Today we are talking 7 ways British and American pubs are very different. If you've been following us a while, you know we like to drink a beer every now and then.
Yep.
So this will be interesting to check out.
I mean, it makes sense, though. I mean, doesn't it? Over there, where the pubs started, they're different than here. It's like a cantina is different in Mexico than it is here.
Right, exactly.
For sure. This is interesting. This is going to be great.
Yeah. The last time we reviewed something from our friend Lawrence, you criticized the fact that we didn't watch the whole thing. So we'll watch the whole thing.
Yes, we'll watch
That's
the whole
a promise
thing.
to y'all.
Let's do it.
Let's go in.
In the US, this varies by state, but there's not a single one in the Union that mandates that pubs close as early as that. Hello, I'm Lawrence, and I'm on a quest to uncover all of the memos that Britain and America lost in the pond, and one of those memos pertains to pubs. Pubs, where would we be without them? A question that's been decisively answered in the hellscape that is 2020. In fact, while we're on the subject of the pandemic, do keep in mind, Uncle Toby, that a lot of what you're about to hear in this video might temporarily not be true. That doesn't mean that it's not ordinarily true, it just means that pubs have had to make a lot of changes on either side of the pond. And the key word there is either. I think before I moved to the United States, I was under the assumption that America didn't have pubs, but specialized instead in bars. But America does have pubs. Sometimes they'll be the kind of pubs that are looking to mimic those in Britain or Ireland. And those ones are easy to spot because they'll say something like Johnny's Irish Pub, or the Elephant and Castle in allusion to Britain's many castles and elephants. But then America does have pubs in its own right, usually called something along the lines of Merv's Tavern. And since I'm now familiar with how pubs operate in both countries, I thought this would be a great opportunity to talk about 7 ways that British and American pubs are very different. So go and order yourself a pint of Foster's or Miller Lite as we order in the first round.
So first of all, there is some Miller Lite near us. We're not going to drink it on camera because YouTube monetization. Let's check this, what the date was. July 26, 2020.
So that was like knee deep.
Yeah, knee deep in the pandemic. So, the American sports bar.
That's what it is. It's a sports bar.
Sports bar, yeah.
Yeah.
Too many flat screens, fried everything, Miller Lite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I would say you step up with a tavern or grill.
Yeah, because the odds are good that the food is
cooked by
a chef,
not some machine spouting robot.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Oh, microwave, we got one of those.
Yeah.
Now we can serve food.
Exactly. Drinking aids, let's go.
The story of my drinking life goes a little bit like this. At the ages of 16 and 17, I could waltz up to the bar of any British pub and order myself an absinthe. And that's not because 16 is the legal drinking age in Britain. It's because A, door security is usually pretty lax, as in there is no door security. And B, I've always looked 4 years older than I am. No, the legal drinking age in Britain is 18, so imagine my surprise on my 18th birthday when me and a few mates went to paint the town red, not literally, that's another story, and I got carded for the first time in my entire life, and the problem was I didn't have any ID with me. Fast forward 9 years, 27 years old, and I've moved to the United States of America. What's the first thing that happens as I enter a pub? I get carded. But then depending on the state, it is not unusual for people that are much older, sometimes 70 years older, to be carded at an American pub. Trust me, saw this with my own eyes. It happened to Dick Van Dyke. Of course, by then, I'd learned my lesson and I did indeed have some ID. Ironically, I get carded a lot less these days, one of the perks of being a YouTube sensation. And 38 years old. So nationally, the legal drinking age in the United States is 21, but that hasn't always been the case. In some states, it was even once like Britain, a pub could legally serve somebody who was 18 years or older. In 1969, while Neil and Buzz were landing on the moon, teenagers could legally land themselves a glass of Blue Moon. But only in the states of Louisiana and Neil Armstrong's home state of Ohio. And then something changed. By 1975, the number of 18 states had risen to 23. This was a domino effect following the recent change of the voting age from 21 to 18. The belief being that if somebody's old enough to vote, they're old enough to drink. The problem is, legislators didn't stop to think about what would happen if these two things happened at the same time. By 1983, the numbers plummeted as states moved to increase their drinking age once more to 21. This was seen as a response to an increase in drunk driving incidents. And the domino effect was complete in 1984, when President Ronald Reagan signed into law the National Minimum Drinking Age Act, which outlawed the purchase of alcohol by individuals under the age of 21. In 2020, one or two parental loopholes notwithstanding, the legal drinking age remains 21 in all US states and territories except Puerto Rico and the US Virgin Islands, where it's 18.
Oh. Interesting. Yeah, I figured it was 18, like, across anywhere that wasn't the United States, because I gotta tell you, man, getting up on my soapbox here, I don't think the drinking age should be 21, because the way I see it, it makes it a forbidden fruit.
Yeah.
And you know that would make it dangerous for kids who don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. I'm with you there. I feel like if I don't know, man. I'm a hard 50% for it, 50% against it.
Yeah, I could see the argument either way.
The driving part.
The driving, yes.
The driving part, because majority of people here drive.
Right. It is a driving forward state.
That is
country.
Yeah, that is how we get around. Period. There's no, at least where I was, no public transportation to hop on and get the drunk bus home.
Right.
No.
Like backcountry area.
No, you are driving.
You have to drive.
And that never ended well.
And there's not a lot of Ubers around
there.
No,
not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all. So that is my argument. But I do agree with you taking it off the pedestal that it is.
Yeah, maybe let it be a decision made at the state level.
Yep.
And then the argument in favor of it that I have is, you know, if you can join the military at 18, you can vote at 18, you can be tried as an adult at 18, you should have a beer at 18. If you can legally work in porn at 18, you should be able to drink to get to know your coworkers better.
Yep. I mean, you can definitely drive then. So I don't know, or balance the age thing.
Yeah.
Hey, because of drunk driving, raise the driving age to 21.
Yeah, there is that.
Just go the other way.
Yeah, it's a little weird that you could drive at 16.
Yeah.
Pubs, what are they good for? Well, the answer to that question could be different depending on which country you are in. I mean, sure, in both countries, one of the chief aims of pubs is to give customers a place to get pissed until the cows come home. And if you've ever been drinking with me, that happens regularly. But the main difference here lies in their purpose in the middle of the day. In Britain, if we go to the pub in the middle of the day, often this can take on a quiet but social tone. We just go to talk over a pint. In a way, it's like how Americans go and grab a coffee. Coffee. Why am I saying it like that? One country emerges from this scenario drunk on caffeine, the other drunk on the street. Apart from that, it's the same thing. If you go into the pub in the middle of the day in America, you can usually expect that to be coupled with a sporting event. And that doesn't mean you yourself get drunk and start playing polo. It means you enter a pub that's simultaneously showing about 28 different sports. In order to do that, said pub would need to have a of these.
Yep, TV screens
everywhere.
Like we were just saying, too many flat screens.
Yep.
And that's a good analogy. You know, in the middle of the day, we would meet up for a cup of coffee.
Yep.
And I guess to the other side of the pond, you meet up for a pint.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
A lot of talking can get done on either one. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, TV screens. Let's hear what Lawrence has to say.
That's right. In America, the term sports bar is almost redundant, though I'm finding firsthand the same is not true of the term sports bra. Don't ask. One word, tequila. But the reason that the term sports bar ought to be redundant is that just about every pub and bar in America is worthy of that title. In other words, it's incredibly common to walk into an establishment and be surrounded by television sets. And these television sets don't typically show repeats of Happy Days, but of the Cubs losing, or at least when I'm around. In British pubs, you will occasionally find a TV, but the emphasis is not on consuming television, but rather on consuming alcohol and the words of your friends. That sounded weird. Earlier in the video, I joked that we ourselves don't play sports while down at the pub, but in either country this isn't strictly true. Of course, in Britain this depends on whether or not you class darts as a sport, especially when you're at the pub because you've got a drink in your hand, which I've just realised is also true of professional darts players. Either way, darts are an incredibly popular sport in British pubs. In American pubs, even though you will occasionally encounter the odd dartboard, sometimes very odd dartboard, they're just not as big a part of the pub-going experience. And when you think about the sentence, drunk people throwing sharp objects, that probably makes sense.
Okay, so definitely in more like pubs that are trying to emulate Britain and Irish pubs, you would see darts.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you don't go to Buffalo Wild Wings and see that. You don't go to
you have to go to some hole in the wall.
Yeah, it's hole in the walls. That's what we refer to the more rustic kind of bars in America.
You're like
holes in the wall.
Yeah, you're driving middle of nowhere. You're like, holy shit, there's a bar here.
Yeah,
that bar would have a dartboard.
I'd be interested if TJ's right near you has a dartboard.
I don't know. They probably have a cow tipping competition. They're out there, man. They're out there, man.
But yeah, like I can only think of two sports that have alcohol related to playing them: darts and bowling.
Yeah, I would say bowling.
But
you can't really bowl in a pub.
Right, you can't.
I mean, you can. Anything's possible.
Right.
Don't ever put limits on yourself.
I'm often reminded of those stories of American tourists who enter a British pub, sit at a table and wait on a waiter to wait for them. Here's the truth, you could be waiting a long time because unlike the United States, British pubs tend not to employ table service. And this can be a problem, particularly when the pub is heaving in the sense of crowded, not throwing up.
Yeah.
You want to make sure you get a seat. I understand that, right? So here's what you do. If you're there in a group, one of you go up to the bar while the rest of you claim the seat. The one at the bar orders all of the drinks and then it's his or her responsibility to carry them to the table. Just don't use the term double fisting. In America, things are different. Even during the Super Bowl, which is not a national dish, you can fully expect to receive table service in most pubs throughout the land. Of course, this could be partially dictated by the tipping culture that exists in America. And fellow Brits, that's not the same thing as fly tipping.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess, like you can't, in American pubs, at least what I've seen, you can't carry multiple beers from there.
Because you can only buy a certain amount.
Right, and everybody has to be present to get their beer. Yeah. But yeah.
Like you had the same issues at the Guinness Brewery.
I did, yeah.
You couldn't buy a bunch. I mean, granted, you weren't in a group.
Right. If you want to see that vlog, it'll probably be around our face somewhere. But let's see, beer selection.
Let's do it.
At the end of the day, we go to the pub to get absolutely rat-arsed or to have a casual drink. And so to some degree, it's going to vary from country to country as to what is on tap. There are some crossovers and I dare say some exceptions to what I'm about to say. But there are lots of differences in the beers that are served, and this can vary from pub to pub or even region to region. Any pub, British or American, worth their salt will feature a comprehensive list of...
Oh yeah, Flying Dog. A good old Maryland brew right there. And let's see, Highland.
I don't know why I didn't think Shinerbach was Texas.
I didn't know. Sierra Nevada, Jack Daniels, Jim Beam, Sweetwater. Yep.
I've had a lot of these.
Yeah, but yeah, that's true. Like it'll vary pub to pub, bar to bar, state to state. Yep. Yeah, you don't ever know what you're gonna get.
Never.
Local beers. Naturally, these are going to be different between Britain and America, but also between regions within each of those countries. But then you get down to the big names too. In Britain, you're far more likely to be ordering the Australian beer Foster's than you are Samuel Adams. If that's not your bag, there's always Carlsberg or Carling. In America, Budweiser or Miller Lite. And if you want one that unites the two countries, you could go for the Belgian beer Stella Artois, which in Britain is trashy and in the US it's classy. And then, of course, there's the pint size itself. Let me go back in time and hand you over to Lawrence from a few months ago. Great Britain might be unfairly known for its warm beer, but at least you get more bang for your buck, or should I say quid. You see, a British pint is larger than its American counterpart. To some, that might sound like something that I cooked up after, 4 pints of Stella, especially since each country defines a pint as 1/8 of a gallon. But here's the catch. Gallons are different too. In the US, a gallon is equal to 3.79 litres. In Britain, it's equal to 4.55 litres. So 1/8 of a US gallon gives you a pint of 473 millilitres. A good old British pint clocks in at 568. And this is great news for American beer fans in Britain because it means that 6 American pints are equal to 5 British ones. Wow. You'll be slaughtered before the pub quiz starts.
Dang.
Nice.
Dang.
Nice.
Get more brewski in Britain. Love it.
There you go.
Yeah, but the comparison of the only beers the Britain that I have heard of are Foster's and
But that's Australian.
Yeah, because Australian. And
yeah.
We've done a few AFL videos and people I saw a few comments saying that Australians don't drink that.
Yeah. It's just an export.
Yeah.
Carlsberg?
Yeah,
don't we have that here? Isn't it imported? I've never had it.
I've never had it. I've never had it.
I don't even know if I've seen it.
I recognized Carling because when we went to St. Martin for our honeymoon, my wife and I, we saw that all around the island. Stella, we have that. I didn't know it was considered trashy.
It's like the Miller Lite.
The Miller Lite of Britain.
It's like if Britain had its NASCAR beer, it'd be Stella, which is not the case here.
Right. It's not their Formula One beer.
Yeah.
It's probably something else. Anyway, closing time.
Yep.
Aside from the fact that you now have a particular song stuck in your head, you're probably asking the question, what's the difference between British and American closing times? You see, in Britain, right up until about 2005, it was mandated that pubs had to close at 11 p.m. On the one hand, you could get around this by starting your drinking session earlier, say at 7 o'clock in the morning. On the other, given the time difference, you couldn't stay around long enough to watch wrestling pay-per-views. But then in 2005, a law was passed that said that pubs could stay open 24 hours so long as they had a specific license. But by all accounts, it looks like most British pubs haven't applied for this license because they still shut at 11 p.m. In the US, this varies by state, but there's not a single one in the Union that mandates that pubs close as early as that.
No.
In fact, 27 states in the Union permit their pubs to stay open until 2 a.m. And it's usually at that time, after tequila, that my voice really does sound like that. Now, there are some notable exceptions to this rule. Alaska and Hawaii are to drinking times what Puerto Rico and the US Virgin Islands are to the legal drinking age. In other words, they're so far away from the mainland, they can sort of get away with it. What can they get away with? Staying open until 4 and 5 a.m. There are state and local exceptions to those rules, just in case you were thinking of moving to either of those states.
All right,
awesome.
Cool. Yes, that is 100% true about the closing time. That is...
yes.
Yeah, you could drink your ass off till 2 a.m., but you better get your ass home safely. The cops don't mess around with drunk driving.
No.
I think that's true on both sides of the pond, but 11 p.m.
Ooh, that's when the night starts.
Yeah, that's when the night starts.
That's when you
shake
off your Friday work day and are shifting into your weekend mode.
Yeah,
you know,
that's ridiculous.
Man, and that's lights on in the bars.
Yeah,
that's like flick the lights on. All right, guys, head out. That's not like lock the door.
Right.
That's when shit. No alcohol is sold after 2.
Right. That last call is like 1:30, 1:45-ish.
Yep.
Yeah, so...
That's crazy, man.
But 11, like, come on, Britain. Apply for that license.
Yeah, get it. Stay 24/7.
Yes.
Yeah. I like how there's no like delay. There's no later. Then it's either 11 or 24 hours.
Yeah. There's no in between.
There's no in between. That's too much, man.
Yeah. Lawrence, thanks again for putting this together.
Dude.
2 thumbs up.
Great.
We always love watching your vids.
Oh, hell yeah.
And let us know in the comments if there's any more Lost in the Pond vids y'all want us to check out.
Definitely.
And thanks y'all for liking, commenting, subscribing, hitting that bell, and sharing with your friends.
Yes.
Till next time, wash your hands, scrub your toes, wipe your ass, blow your nose, embrace the suck.
And unplug and do epic shit.
We will see you next time.
Later.